Welcome back everybody to check this out. As always, I hope you are doing very well. On this installment of Can a Truck Driver Cook? I would like to explore a cuisine that for the most part is overlooked. If you search YouTube for Italian, French, German, Chinese, Japanese, Thai, or even Indian cuisine, you will find tens of thousands of recipes. Which is a good thing because they're all great. Even though the one that we're looking at today does have a presence on YouTube, I just don't think it's one that comes to mind when you're searching for a recipe. We're talking about the Czech Republic here. And I must admit, it's not one that came to mind for me when I was looking for a new recipe. Hell, I could barely find it on a map, much less cook any of their food. But all that changed one day when a beautiful young lady started working at my place of employment. She was born in the Czech Republic and would bring in some samples of her wonderful native cuisine, like these beautiful cookies that she bakes up during the holidays. Being the foodie that I am, I started picking her brain for more information on the food from her homeland. I was so impressed by the food, and considering the relative lack of representation on YouTube, I thought about starting a YouTube channel devoted to Czech cooking and product reviews, starring my lovely colleague as the host. If you look at some of my early videos, the name of the channel was Check This Out, spelled C-Z-E-C-H. Unfortunately, that did not work out. She's a busy woman with work, a large family, and did not have the time to invest in starting a channel. Any of you that have ever started a YouTube channel know quite well it's very time consuming and could take years to pay off, if ever. As AC/DC said,
I tell you folks, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
yes, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll on YouTube. Well, enough history. Let's take a look at today's dish. It's Medovik, or Czech honey cake. This dessert varies widely from region to region and country to country. Apparently this dish originated in Armenia, but I've also seen Russian variants on it also. I chose this one for two reasons. One, I could almost pronounce it. And two, this 15-layer cake uses sour cream for the filling or frosting, whatever you want to call it. I've made cakes with sour cream, mayonnaise, yogurt as part of the cake to make it moist. But I don't think I've ever used it as a frosting. I suppose cream cheese frosting would be about the closest thing. Well, I'm game for something different. How about you? If you are, let's get over to the kitchen and get started. Okay, you ready to get started on Czech honey cake? Here's what we're going to need. Flour, sugar, baking soda, butter, vanilla, honey, salt, walnuts, sweetened condensed milk, and here's the one I'm not sure about, sour cream. I don't think I've ever made a cake with sour cream frosting or filling, whatever you want to call it. The beautiful young Czech lady at work said that this is not unusual in the Czech Republic, but this will be unusual for me and it'll be my first one. Now that we have all of our ingredients, let's start putting them together. Okay, in a small saucepan, we're going to get our sugar mixture together. We're going to start off with 1/2 cup of honey, 3/4 cup of sugar, and 1 stick or 1/2 cup of butter. Now let's get some heat to this. We want a low heat here. We just want to get the sugar, honey, and butter dissolved. We don't want to get this too hot because we're going to be adding it to an egg mixture. And once again, like some of the other videos, we don't want scrambled eggs. So let's put some heat to this and get all of this melted together. Right there, we're starting to get a little bit of bubbling around the edges. So I think this is far enough. This is part of the cake mixture. We're going to set this aside and let it cool a little bit and start getting the eggs together. For the next part of our cake batter, we're going to need 3 eggs and we're going to beat those up a bit. Now we want to take our honey sugar mixture and start pouring that right in. Should be cool enough now, it shouldn't bother the eggs at all. Once we have our sugar mixture thoroughly incorporated, we're going to take 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now the young lady at work from the Czech Republic, she said that's the one thing that would probably be a little bit different from a Czech recipe. They said that they would probably be using the whole vanilla beans and scraping them down. I don't have any right now, so we're going to have to go with the vanilla extract. That'll have to do. This is a good quality vanilla extract, but if you want to make it more authentic, I would say maybe take 1 whole vanilla bean pod, scrape it down, and add that to it here. And we're going to take 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we'll mix that all in. Now we're going to take 4½ cups of flour, and we're going to incorporate that into our batter, 1/2 cup at a time. I did sieve this flour. The recipe didn't call for sifting it, but anytime I've made cakes, I want them to be as light and fluffy as possible. But this is a cake that you actually roll out with a rolling pin, so I don't know if it'd make any difference or not, but what the heck, it can't hurt, right? So let's take 1/2 cup at a time and start mixing our flour mixture in. Okay, there we go. That looks more like chocolate chip cookie dough than cake. And I'm supposed to find some way to roll this. So this is going to be interesting because I suppose with enough flour down, I can probably get that to roll out. But we're going to find out, aren't we? Now what we need to do is separate this into 8 equal pieces. So I'm going to take an empty bowl the same size as this one, tear it out on the scale, put this one on, find out how much weight I have there, divide it by 8, because that's probably the only way I'm going to get 8 equal size layers. So let's go ahead and start that now. Okay, there's our 8 cake layers. Yeah, it looks more like dough than cake, but let's carry on with it. Now we need to roll each one of these out into a little over a 9-inch circle. Then we're going to take, I'm going to use the bottom of a quiche pan or a tart pan because this is exactly 9 inches, and I should be able to fit 2 of these at a time onto a cookie sheet with a seal pad on it. So let's get rolling and find out. Okay, there's the first one on there. Now it says to dock it 8 times. I don't know. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's docked. Now apparently this is supposed to be done in about 4 to 5 minutes. We'll find out. Okay, the recipe said 4 to 6 minutes. And I'm just starting to get a little bit of brown on there, and I think that's enough for these. So let me go ahead and roll out the other 7, and then we'll get them all together and start the next part. Okay, there's our 8 layers. I've got those done. Just about ready to start assembly now. I've got all of the trimmings here that we took off with the pizza cutter. I'm going to give those a spin in the food processor, and you're supposed to decorate the sides and outside with these in, so you don't waste nothing. Nothing's wasted. So let me go ahead and give those a spin, then we'll start on our frosting or filling. I'm not sure what you call it when it's made out of sour cream. Okay, for our filling, we're going to need 24 ounces of sour cream, 1 1/4 cups of sweetened condensed milk. Now you just beat that to combine it all. Okay, we're supposed to take our filling. It looks a little thin to me, but that's how it's supposed to be done. Take a 1/2 cup of it, take an offset spatula, and move this out to about 1/4 inch from the end. They said overnight this thing may leak out a little bit, and you'll have to clean up the edges in the morning. All right, that looks pretty good. And we'll keep on building our layers. Well, I don't know if I got this thing right or not. I mean, I would prefer a thicker filling, but that's exactly what it called for. Now you're supposed to take a combination of walnuts and these crumbs and cover this thing with it. I'll tell you folks, I don't know about this thing. Maybe it'll set up in the refrigerator. I don't know. You're supposed to cover this thing loosely in plastic and let it set for about 8-12 hours before you cut it, because all that sour cream and all that moisture is supposed to soak into the layers. So I'm going to try to clean this thing up a little bit, get it into the refrigerator, and we'll take a look at it tomorrow, because right now I'm not real confident. Okay, see you tomorrow. Well, good morning, good morning. At least it's a good morning for me. That disaster you saw last night actually turned into something I think is halfway decent. I took this whole thing, as you saw last night, this whole thing was sliding all over with that sour cream filling in there and stuff. It was a mess. So I wrapped it fairly tightly in plastic wrap, let it set overnight, and now it feels like it's pretty firm. It's not going anywhere. But how does this thing taste after all this? And let's cut into it. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this looks like. Well, I'll be darned. That looks like exactly what I saw in the picture. Let's take this wax paper off there. That actually looks pretty good. I'm really surprised it came out looking a lot more like the picture than what I thought it was going to. Let's try a taste. What does this stuff taste like? Well, I gotta say, I'm surprised. I expected it to taste like the sour cream from Taco Bell or something, but there's just a slight bit of sourness from the cream. The sweetened condensed milk helped balance that out. It's not overly sweet. I tried some of the cake when I toasted up those scraps for doing the coating on top, and it tasted about the sweetness of, have you ever had one of those Barnum animal crackers? Not very sweet at all, as are a lot of European desserts. A lot of them seem to not have quite the sweet tooth that we do here in the United States, or not at least to the degree that we do. But that's absolutely fantastic. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to make, and if you decide not to do it, I don't blame you. Last night I thought this was going to be a total disaster by morning. It was not going to look anything like the layers I saw in the picture, but overnight all of that extra moisture in the sour cream was absorbed into the cake layers, made them extremely soft, moist. It's good. It's really good. So if you do decide to give it a try, I hope it goes well for you, because it's well worth it. It's not a hard recipe to make, but it's just the time of baking all 8 of those layers and getting them cut out. Hey, if you got some extra time, you're on vacation, you don't have anything else to do, this is good. This is really good. I've had some Czech desserts and Czech cooking from the lovely young lady at work, and I always felt that it was a cuisine that was probably overlooked in the big scheme of things. So I'm glad I tried it. I'm going to enjoy this. Certainly don't want to eat too much of it at one time, but anyhow, I'm going to enjoy this. So hey, thanks once again for joining me. I hope everybody stays well, stays safe, keep cooking, and we'll see you next time on Check This Out.